Hey, and welcome back to the Infinite Hex. My name is Patrick, and today we're going to continue with creating a sandbox series. And we're going to take a closer look at the creation of a province scale map, because it's a rather important map type. It's the map type that the party will mostly use when they explore a region, because in a kingdom scale map, the hexes are 60 miles wide, or maybe even like 100 miles, depending on what you chose. And it's kind of hard to describe a narration for 60 miles, which would be probably like a week or something maybe, or at least 3 or 4 days. So I usually use the province scale maps, which have a hex width of like 6 miles or maybe 8 miles, depending on what you chose. And that's why I want to take a closer look at this style of map today. And without any further ado, I'm going to put myself into the bottom right corner, and we are going to take a look at our kingdom scale map. I'm going to zoom out a bit. On the first episode, we did this hex here. I finished that one. We're going to take a look at the province scale map for this hex as well in a second. Going to reduce the visibility of the hex numbers a bit. And for today, I chose hex 0610. And if we look at the hex from the first episode, which would be 0511, we have this now. I finished this one because I needed it for my actual play episodes I have on this channel as well. We see a couple of woods here. I have a couple of names for locations here as well. It is on my Patreon as well, so if you want to download that, you can do that there as well. For today, we are going to go for hex 0610, as I said already, and it would be this one. So we have a lot of ocean, which we will not cover today. We will just leave that as ocean. And then we have a landmass here. There is a river going through, which is the one that goes out from the, like into the eastern side here, and then comes back into hex 0610 and flows into a delta and into the ocean. So the first step is to determine terrain, and I'm going to bring up the process document in the bottom left corner, and the process goes the following. We will choose a starting hex, and since we are on map 610, I'm just going to use 610 here as well for the starting hex, and we are going to say that this one is a forest hex because we said that the dominant terrain for this kingdom scale map will be forest. So I'm going to start with forest here as well. So we're just going to put a couple of trees. I have prepared the stamps already down here into this hex. So this is a forest hex. And now we are going to go in a circle around that, starting at the northern hex. And we're going to roll a d10. Going to bring a dice roller into the view as well. We're going to roll a d10. And if the value is lower or equal than 5, we will use the same terrain for this hex, and if not, we will roll a d10 again and see how or which terrain the hex gets. And this is on the table 17 here. So one of these 10 terrains we will choose. If the hex is not the same than the one before, we're going to start with 611. So we're going to roll a d10, and it's a 1, so it's going to be the same. Just going to put some forests here. And now we're just going to go in a circle around the first hex we started with, and it's always going to be the same. 1 to 5 is the same terrain than the mother hex, so to speak, and 6 to 10 is something different. So let's roll again. 1, 2. Okay, that is also forest. Let's roll again. That's also forest. Also forest. There's a lot of forest here. And one more time. One more forest. Okay, wow. All forest. So the next step is now to go one layer further out. So we're going to determine 612, 811, 89, 68, 49, and 411. And they will all be based on their adjacent hexes. So 612 will be based on 611, 811 will be based on 711, and so on. So I'm going to do one more circle, and then I'm going to go off screen and finish the map and then come back when it's done. So we're going to roll 6 more times. We're starting with 612. That's forest 2. Wow. Then now it's 811. That is something different. Okay, let's see what that is. We're going to roll another d10 and go on the table from my process document. We get a 4 and that's forest again. Okay, well, that can happen. It tells you that you get something different and then you roll again and you still get forest. Okay, so that's forest again. Now we go for 809. That's forest again. 608. Something different. What is it? We roll a 1. That is coast. Yeah, that's coast. So we're just going to roll again because it just doesn't fit. I don't want to change the layout of the map now. So we are just going to roll again and see what we get. Get an 8. And 8 is plains. Okay, so plains I usually only mark with a texture. There's an alpha grass texture here. I think I'm going to put it on 85. The size, and then you can see it gives you like a grass texture. If we zoom in, we can see it looks a bit like grass. Okay, now the last one, or the two last ones, 049 and 411, something different. That's a 10, and a 10 is a swamp. Okay, swamp, I'm going to do the following. I'm going to put that down and then a couple of trees, and then I'm just going to take a darker green. So I'm just going to use that green here and then turn its brightness a bit down, and then I'm just going to paint over that. But it looks a bit like a swamp for now. Just a bit darker. And we have to see how it goes with the or how we put that in, because a swamp needs a water source for it to become a swamp. So, and since like rivers usually don't split, I maybe change that later into something that fits better, but we just have to see. Okay, so the last one is 411, one more die roll, and we get a 6, and then a 5, and a 5 is grasslands. Okay, grasslands is fine as well. We are, well, that's actually pretty cool, I think, because we do the same then for the plains, just a bit of this grass texture. And then there are grass stamps as well. And we are just going to use a couple of those to show that it's not just a plain flat grass, but that there are some bushes and taller grass as well. Just going to place them down a bit like this. And then take the bigger one we have here. That's very big, and do it like this. So we see, oh, what is that? That there is some taller grass too. Okay. And now I'm just going to go off screen and finish the map, and it's probably going to change. And don't shy away from changing stuff that you have rolled before, because if it just doesn't fit, or if you suddenly get an idea that you want to have something specific on the map, then just go for that. But this is a really good process to determine a map randomly, but also have some consistencies, because you are always basing the next hex on the hex before. And the next step would now be to fill hexes 712, then 810, 79, 59, 410, 512, and you base them on the hexes that we just did now. So 712 would be based on 612, 810 on 811, 79 on 89, and so on. I'm going to go off screen and then come back when I'm done with the map. So as you can see, I finished the map, not all of it, but most of it. When it comes to the landmass, I added some cliffs here. Like most of it is forest. I moved the swamp up here, and we have a marsh now. Following the river here for a bit, there's a bridge here as well, which bridges the river for the road, which comes from the west and leads towards the northeast. We have a smaller road going down through the forest, and then we have a small path here through one of these mesas, and then the larger road is leading to the south as well. We could either finish the entire map, but I don't think this is actually necessary. We will do this when we, well, you can do this off screen. I will do it later. I just wanted to give a idea of how the map will look in general. We will have probably more forest here as well. a bit, and then probably just plains and grasslands and some details we will determine in a minute. I added some cliffs here as well. And as you can see, I also used another map type, which is the parchment world type as well. I really like this style of map. It looks a lot like these Lord of the Rings maps, and it looks even better when it's shaded. For now, it's just a green color to symbolize grasslands as the foliage. So I'd say we start with the first scenario. We see this as a starting map for Sandbox campaign, and we're going to determine a starting village and 3-4 hexes around it. And we're going to place the starting village in hex 6010 as well. So let's just put it here. Looks fine from the size of it. And now we are going to determine a couple of hexes around this starting hex, around the starting village. We are going to look at the process document again and have the dice roller here. And I'm going to go back to the process. So we did terrain. We have to determine the habitation status. I'd say it's a sparse as well. For the first map we had sparse, and I'm just going to say we are going to use a sparse here as well, which means that there's just one settlement in this map, and maybe like a couple of smaller locations, like a wizard's tower, or I don't know, maybe a small mining town or whatever, something like this. So we said that we are going to follow these 3 scenarios I stated earlier. And the first one was that we are making a starting map for a Sandbox campaign. And we don't want to place the hexes that we are populating around the starting settlement too far away, because traveling is actually quite dangerous at like lower levels in these old school D&D games. And I'm always assuming a point of view from old school D&D here, and there at lower levels travel is really dangerous. You can get killed easily by a band of orcs that ambushes you, so we don't want to place them too far away. And I'd say we go for hexes, let's say 312, 613, and maybe 810. And now, following the process, we are going to roll 2d2 to determine how many natural features we have in a hex and how many man-made landmarks. So let's see what we get. We start with 312. Just going to roll 84 here because we don't have a d2. So 84 and then divide by 2. So the first would be, we have 1 natural landmark in 312, and we have 2 man-made landmarks in 312. Now we go into the respective tables. The first one would be table 18 to see what natural landmark we have. So we are in terrain plains here, and I'm just going to roll a d100 now to see which type we get. It's 37, and that would be fauna features, and we are in plains. Well, the plains table is rather empty. They are not all filled because I only fill them when I need them, so it would be the time now. But I don't want to waste too much time for the video, so I'm just going to take the grasslands. They are rather similar anyway. So we're just going to take the grasslands column, and here it's a d100 again. So that's a 42, and the 42 is wild horses race through the flat grasslands. All right. That's our natural feature. And as you can see, like, it's not combat. It's not that anything happens. It's just that if the party travels through and you like narrate them what happens here, you can say in the distance you see wild horses racing through the flat plains, and maybe there are predators circling overhead, or you have bandits who chase them and want to capture them and then sell them or something like that. And then the party can decide, are we going after that or not? And then we have 2 man-made landmarks. So we are going to go on the man-made landmarks table. And here we have a couple of different categories. It's 7 of them. So I'm just going to roll a d8 because 8 is roll 2 and combine. So rolling a d8, we have a 2, and that would be history. So we just scroll down to history, and here it's a d12. And that's an 11. Okay, that's roll 2 and combine. So I just say 6, which would be a shrine, and 10, which is a wrecked ship, which might be nowhere near water. Okay, that is a bit too random for me now, so I'm just going to roll again. We had shrine, and we get okay, shrine and monument. That's fine, and we don't have to think about what that would be too much now. I can do this for myself. You can do this for myself. And if you're following this, you will get different results anyway. So shrine plus monument, and then we have a second man-made landmark. That's a D8 again for the type. That's a 6 this time. So we have production. We go down to production and a D12. That's a windmill. Okay, so windmill, and I'm instantly getting the idea that it's a windmill plus a farm. So we have a small farm just outside of the forest here in 312, and I'm just going to mark that down as well, just like this. I'm just going to take that symbol here and say that's the farm. These around. So we have a small farm here. Okay, and of course there is a windmill. Do we have a windmill? Nope. It doesn't matter. I have it written down anyway. So next hex is 613. Same thing, 2d2. I'm just going to roll a d4 again. So for natural landmarks, it's going to be 1 again. And for man-made, it's going to be 2 again. Okay. Same thing. We're going to go back to the terrain features. This time we are in a forest hex where the river is running through. So we're going to roll a d100 and check the forest row. We roll a 25, and that is elevation. Okay, that does not really fit here because we have a river and I don't want to put hills in here now. So I'm just going to roll again, and we get an 84. And 84 is soil and ground. Okay, let's go down to soil and ground in the forest. And here it's D12. And by the way, these documents are all available on my Patreon for free, so you can just download them there. So a D12, we get an 1. Rock outcroppings jut from the forest floor, some draped in moss and tangled vines. Okay, so here we could, for example, say maybe there was like a giant's fort here once, and these rocks are come from like boulders they have like thrown around, or maybe there was an explosion underground which pushed these like rock outcroppings out of the ground, or maybe they're just there for like natural reasons. And now for the natural landmarks, I'm going to roll a d8, and we get a 3, which is infrastructure. So we go down to infrastructure and roll a d12 again. We get a 10, and that's a well. Okay, so there's a well in the forest as well. Maybe it's from a past civilization. Maybe there are ruins around it from a village which has been abandoned or destroyed by some forest monster. And now the second landmark. We roll a d8 again to see what we get. We get a 4 again, which is magic. Okay, go down to the magic table. We roll a 12, a d12. Get a 9, which are standing stones with inscriptions in an uncommon language. Okay, so that could be, for example, a wizard who has put this up there. Could be for example, a drow settlement underground, and if you solve the riddle or if you read what is written on the inscriptions, then an entrance opens, something like that. And now a 10, I'm going to go and do like off screen. So as I said, for the video, to not get too long, the process is the same, and you can just do that on your own as well. Okay, so for A10, I got a entrance into an underground network of passageways and halls, a cave network, and then I got the statue of a hero. And I just thought about, like, on this mesa here in the middle, we have like a huge statue of a hero that has maybe won an important battle here or died there in battle, whatever. And there is no real icon for a hero, so I took the temple icon and we just take that as a statue of a hero. Okay, so this is the first scenario if we want to make a starting map for a sandbox campaign. The second one we are going to go through is now that we have an idea in our mind and we want to place that on the map. So part of my idea for this was already visible. You weren't actually supposed to see this yet, but it doesn't really matter, is a wizard's tower down here. And my idea for this is that there's a wizard who is either lawful or neutral, and he tries to find a cure for lycanthropy. And there's a forest nearby where we have a population of lycanthropes, werewolves, were-tigers, were-boars, whatever. And he is either, and that's the question now, he's either having a like an agreement with them to like experiment on them, or he is capturing them and then he is experimenting on them. So I'm going to just put down the boundaries of a forest here, just like some trees to mark like how far the forest goes. Now this is lower. Like this area down here is lower than up here, so we should reduce the stamp size a bit. Those are 180, 60, so we're going to put these on 120. So they are a bit smaller, and we can see that it's actually lower here than here. And the forest is just going to go from here, here, maybe here, 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 and here. So all this inside would be forest. I'm not going to fill that up entirely now. And then there's also a cave in my idea, which is maybe even just somewhere where the entrance is maybe somewhere here along these cliffs. There's the cave entrance. Maybe there's like were spiders or were rats in these caves. So if he succeeds, or what he does, if he does something terrible, if something terrible happens, that really depends on you or on like how this idea pans out on your head. But I wouldn't go too far with like describing that now, just saying there's a wizard, he tries to cure lycanthropy, maybe he goes too far, maybe he becomes mad, maybe he becomes a lycanthrope himself and puts the lycanthropes under his command, and then they are starting to ravage the area. They attack the town here, they attack the farm here. Maybe this cave here is connected to that cave up here, so, and they can get through there and then start and terrorize the area, whatever happens. Maybe your party encounters a band of merchants who are lycanthropes themselves, and they heard of that wizard and they want to get the cure from him or want to help him, whatever. And maybe I also add a couple of more locations here where he gets his like test subjects from, or maybe locations like a small thorp which is terrorized by these lycanthropes, and maybe he wants to help these people defend themselves against the lycanthropes and find a cure in the process. Okay, then we have the last scenario. That would be that we take a natural phenomena and turn that into a quest or storyline. And I have chosen the lone willow tree up here. An idea could be that we have a really small, like a thorp again here, or like a hamlet where we have 20, 25, 30 people. Maybe just take this village stamp, make it a bit smaller, maybe size 80. The village is maybe here, or the hamlet, let's say it's a hamlet. Hamlet in 913. What else could there be? I'm just thinking, and I'm probably going to cut the video because I don't want to have you look at me 5 minutes while I'm thinking. So I came up with something. I moved the village a bit to the east, closer to the forest, and I'd say there's an evil spirit in this willow and it's corrupting creatures around it. The local hamlet here is experiencing weird phenomena of magical nature, and people are also vanishing. And there's a cave here in the forest which leads underneath that hill where the willow is on top, and that's where the spirit, or where the controller of this spirit like resides. Could be necromancer, drow priest, human wizard, whatever it could be. And then we could have, for example, maybe there is like a goblin or like a bugbear or like hobgoblin tribe here, which this evil spirit has started to corrupt, and they are kind of acting as enforcers in this region, and they will be the main type of resistance they will find in this cave network underneath that hill. All right. I'm probably going to extend the forest here a bit, so that village is maybe a bit further in the forest, so they are a bit more affected by what's happening in the forest. Maybe like this. Maybe I have a couple of lonely trees here. Names for these locations aren't necessarily very important right now, so we can leave them out for now. And I would end this video here. I'm just going to go through a quick recap. We have looked at our kingdom map again, and I'm going to update that too now with this hex. I'm going to make like a simpler version, which I'm going to put in here in in this hex on the kingdom map. And we have developed this map quite a bit. I'm going to, as I said, finish these locations down here with the wizard, up here with the willow. And I'm also going to finish the rest of the map, and then I'm going to upload it to my Patreon. There's one more thing I wanted to say. How many hexes you fill really depends on your style of GMing. If you are someone who wants to prepare more because they feel more comfortable with that, then you should prepare more hexes. If you are someone who likes to improvise or who doesn't like preparation that much, then you just do less hexes and you work more with like improvised hexes and random generation on the spot during sessions. I'm going back to full camera mode. And with this, we are done for today. I hope that you liked what you saw in this video and that it helps you making your hex maps, making your province scale maps. It can be a daunting process, which takes a lot of time, but a combination of like random generation and pre-made ideas, maybe also pre-made like adventure modules, is a good way to speed the process up and save a lot of time while doing so. If you enjoyed this episode, then please like the video and subscribe to the channel, and I'd say see you next time at the Infinite Hex. Bye bye.